All right, let's talk about one of the most ambitious, most nerve-wracking upgrades in the history of the internet, the Ethereum Merge. Now, this wasn't just some simple software patch. Oh no, this was a complete, fundamental reinvention of the world's most used blockchain. So let's dive in and break down exactly how this truly historic moment happened. Hey everyone, and welcome to CodeAccessHub. This is the place where we make sense of all the complex tech that's shaping our world. And trust me, it doesn't get much more complex or more important than what we're talking about today. To really get a sense of the scale here, just look at this quote from Shapeshift founder Eric Voorhees. He called it the most consequential event in crypto's history. I mean, that is a massive statement, right? And today, we're going to find out exactly why he said that. And it all really starts with this one single number, negative 99.95%. Now, don't worry, this isn't a market crash. It's actually the mind-blowing reduction in Ethereum's energy use. This was the single biggest goal of the merge, and honestly, the whole reason this crazy historic upgrade had to happen in the first place. So here's our game plan. We're going to cover the entire story, starting with that huge energy problem that was plaguing the network. Then we'll walk through the decade-long journey to the upgrade, relive the historic moment it actually happened, clear up what really changed and what didn't, and finally, we'll look ahead at what this all means for Ethereum's next chapter. Okay, so first things first, let's set the stage. Why on earth was such a massive, incredibly risky upgrade even necessary? Well, it all comes down to what you could call Ethereum's original sin, its gigantic energy problem. You see, the network was originally built on a system called proof of work. The easiest way to think about it is like a global competition. You've got these super powerful computers, the miners, all racing against each other to solve these incredibly difficult math puzzles. The winner gets to add the next block of transactions to the chain and gets a reward. Now, this is a really secure system, but it is brutally inefficient and uses an absolutely astronomical amount of electricity. And when I say astronomical, I mean it. To put this into perspective, at its peak, the Ethereum network was burning through about 94 terawatt hours of electricity every single year. That's more than the entire country of the Philippines, with over 100 million people. This wasn't just some tech issue. It was becoming a huge environmental and, frankly, a PR crisis. Something had to change. And that change, well, it was never going to be an overnight fix. This was a monumental engineering challenge that was talked about almost since Ethereum's creation and was in active development for years. This was the long, slow, careful process of building a brand new engine for the entire network. You have to understand, this wasn't just one single event. It was this carefully orchestrated series of steps. It all kicked off back in December 2020 with the launch of the Beacon chain. Think of it as a test network running in the background. Then, almost 2 years later, in September 2022, the actual merge happened. But the work didn't stop. The Shapella upgrade in 2023 was huge because it let people finally withdraw their staked Ether, and then the Dencon upgrade in 2024 started tackling those high fees for other networks built on top of Ethereum. And all of that meticulous planning led to one of the most anticipated high-stakes moments in tech history, the moment of the engine swap. And it happened at precisely 1:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on September 15, 2022, right at block number 15,537,393. That was it. The old proof-of-work chain processed its very last block, and the new proof-of-stake chain took over, completely seamlessly. The Ethereum Foundation itself used this analogy, and it's just perfect. Imagine Ethereum as this giant spaceship hurtling through space at full speed. The merge was like a team of engineers swapping out its old, loud, energy-guzzling engine for a brand new, silent, hyper-efficient one, all without ever stopping or even slowing down. Every app, every transaction, the whole thing just kept on running without a single hiccup. It was incredible. So what is this new engine? It's called Proof of Stake. Instead of that crazy computational race, network security is now handled by validators. These are people who lock up their own ETH as collateral. They literally have skin in the game. That financial stake is what incentivizes them to be honest and keep the network secure. And the key here is that it completely gets rid of the competitive, energy-intensive puzzle solving. And that's why the energy consumption just fell off a cliff. Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial question. After all that work, all that hype, what was the immediate impact? It's super important here to separate the facts from the fiction. So here's the bottom line. The merge was a foundational change, not a magic bullet. Right away, energy use was slashed, and the whole consensus mechanism switched from mining to staking. Block times also got a little faster and way more consistent. But, and this is so important to remember, transaction speed and those pesky gas fees did not immediately change. The merge laid the groundwork for those fixes, but it didn't deliver them on day one. And you know why? It's because the merge was never supposed to be the end of the story. It was really just the end of the beginning. It was the absolutely critical first step in a much larger, multi-year roadmap for Ethereum's evolution. In fact, right after the merge went live, Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik Buterin dropped this bombshell. He said the network was now only about 55% complete. Think about that. The real work of scaling the network for 1 billion users was actually just getting started.
And this is the ambitious plan they have ahead. First up is the Surge, which is all about massively increasing transaction speed. We're talking a target of over 100,000 transactions per second. Then comes the Verge and the Purge, which are designed to streamline the network, basically making it easier and cheaper for regular people to help secure it. And finally, the Splurge, which Vitalik calls the fun stuff, all the little finishing touches to make sure the whole thing runs perfectly.
Which, of course, leaves us with the ultimate question. The merge was an absolutely incredible technical achievement. It solved Ethereum's biggest environmental problem and laid a completely new foundation. But the real test is still coming. Can the community now build on top of that foundation to create a network that is truly scalable, truly secure, and decentralized enough for the entire world to use? If you want to follow that story and get more clear, no-nonsense explainers on the tech that's shaping our future, make sure you subscribe to CodeAccessHub right here on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.